the history of the province of the restoration, and that is, even though that is a very, very small part of the divine principle, it is one of maybe the most closest part from the divine principle. To admit, at least in the beginning, at least 1.5 to 2 years, I never noticed that part of the principle. I read about that divine principle book front to back many times, even in the beginning time, but somehow it did not struck me. But later one time, I was preparing for one of my presentation. I think it was almost around maybe when I was 2-year-old member, and I had to refer back to Divine Principle book in order to clarify some aspect of the lecture I was going to do. Then somehow I read about this passage. That time, it really struck me. Ever since then, this is the most important passage for me, and it's always reminding me how I should go forward and how we all should go forward. And I feel most other passages or all other part of the principle says us the theological aspect of the principles and also the understanding the providential history and many things. But here, this passage which we read today as Kundukai, it's a calling for each and every one of us. It talks to you personally what we have to do, what I have to do, what you have to do. Let me start with that. Divine Principle says, as an individual, each one of us is a product of the history of the providence of restoration. Hence, the person who is to accomplish the purpose of the history is none other than I, myself. I must take the cross of the history and accept responsibility to fulfill its calling. To me, this is the greatest call ever from Divine Principle. This is a reminder to look back towards the 6,000 years of providential history, ever since from the time of Adam, then to all throughout the providential history, then up until now. And also, it is reminding me to look back towards the conditions and indemnity conditions all the people laid before us. It's in my spiritual lineage and also the people in my physical lineage, all those people who made foundations, and on that foundations we are standing now. We have to understand that. And also, when I understand that, when I really read again and again, I feel that I'm not just one person who born this present age of the time, maybe like for me 40 years ago I born, then I live a life for a while, I don't know how many years, but usually 70, 80 years, maybe maximum to 100 years we all live. Then one day we leave from this earth. When I really read this passage, I can see I'm not just an individual who live on this earth and just leaving the earth. I'm a person who is representing thousands of people, or perhaps even billions of people. I think yesterday, Reverend, you mentioned in spirit work there are billions and billions of people, some 407 number of billions of people. We are representing them. We are not just this individual who can just come and go. No. And this time is so important where two parents came. We are representing all those people. More than that, we are accountable to the people who are coming afterwards. who will be coming after this time. When we learn from the providential history, we can see that the providential figures such as Noah, Moses, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Jesus, all these people, they responded to the call of God at the time they were living. And here, I believe almost all of us, not almost, all of us responded to the call of the time we are living. And I believe that was the call to follow true parents. Isn't it? Mm-hmm. Do you believe so? Yes. Do you agree with me? Yes. Are you called? Yes. Do you agree? Yes. I believe not just for us, that calling was for each and every individual who born on this earth, on this time period while two parents are here. And I know some of us, some of those people, we followed that. And at this point, I want to think about something happened to our life. Why did we choose to follow true parents? And for me, it's almost around 18 years ago, 19 years ago, I started following true parent. And I believe all of you, many of you, like 30 years, 40 years, maybe some of you even more than 50 years, following true parents. And when we start following true parents, this is not an easy task. And but you choose to do that. We could have an easy life. Nobody would have tell us what to do. After we joined this movement, always like Father was guiding us, true parents taught us what to do. I believe almost all of us, even Father, chose us who we should get married. And in this country and this culture, it's so weird, isn't it? But you choose to do that. You followed true parents. Why did you do that? I'm sure you have certain reasons for that. Think about that particular reason. You chose to follow true parents that time when you met true parents. Think about that for a moment. I'll come back to you. Just take 1 minute. Maybe less than 1 minute. Why did you choose? What stimulated you to choose true parents and follow them all throughout your life? And what was that? There should be something really excited or something really pushing you. That's why you are continuing. What is that part? What is that particular thing really stimulated you when you decided to follow true parents? Just think about that. From party opposing communism. And because maybe you notice that wherever communism is there, it's always there is in campuses and even schools, politics is very active. I was active there too. And I was opposing communism that time. Actually, that was because my parents, they were very against communism. Then, also, I was involved with many charitable activities. Again, also, in my age, around when I was like 16, 17, I started involved with some businesses too. So, I was involved with many different areas of the life. But I noticed that all those areas, wherever I could get involved, it was dominated by corrupt people, or the majority, or the dominant, always the dominance was, corruption was leading all those areas, even though religion was doing many good things. But ultimately, the final point we could see, no, this is not something good. this is not something that can last long. That's what I again noticed in politics. I could see that egoism, nepotism, and gender bias, those kind of things are heavily polluted politics. And wherever I involved, I could see violation of human rights there. And I started thinking, why is it? As a young person, around when I was 20, 22, I started thinking, this world has no future. Even though there are many good people. And I felt this world is, somebody is leading this world to some kind of disastrous end. Then somehow, through RYS, I connected to our unification movement. I didn't know that it's a church, but anyway, then I started learning divine principle. Then I again started feeling that, wow, that ideal is still possible. It is possible to attain that ideal, even though the current society is corrupt, and even though the current leaders are polluted, even though the current leaders are abusing other people, still this ideal is attainable. I can attain that, I can achieve that ideal if I choose to follow this principle. Then again, I could see that this principle can make me to attain a family ideal. And also I noticed this principle has power to achieve social ideal and lead us to a world ideal, lead us to an ideal world. That's why I choose to follow. And I'm sure all of you had similar situation. All of you, many of you may give up your studies and give up your profession and started following this church and true parents just because of those kind of ideals. And many of you also might be involved with the politics, many issues in the world, and still, as I get involved, I could feel that my life is getting better. I could see an optimism all around me, and this is really going to happen. We are going to restore the world. And actually, one of my older member, I think he joined 2-3 months back, 2-3 months before me. He was telling me that, Manoj, he knows I'm coming from Catholic Church. He told me, Manoj, in 20 years, Unification Church will overtake Catholic Church. Yeah. That's what he told me. And I told him maybe 20 would be too fast, but I believe that will happen pretty soon. And I don't know, you believe that way, but I believe something is going to happen very soon. Then I think I know. But after a while, after I passed like a 10 year in church, then 15 year in church, then I started noticing it is not really happening in the pace I expected. It's not as fast as I expected. And I don't know, you felt the same. I felt that very strongly. Then I felt, why is that? And later, as I refer back to these things, then even I felt that, oh, why do we have to fight against everything, then nothing is happening, no result coming, then are we really losing our life? That kind of thinking also. Some days when we brothers meet after our programs, we started even discussing that way. We discussed that way. Then, when we go back to this passage today we read, it is reminding us, we all, each and every responsibility. If we don't do that, nobody can do anything. Even God cannot do. And here, also, in our present world and world at large, there is a big tendency, there is a feeling going on that we need to have peace. And we really need to have peace. And if we want to have peace, don't get involved with politics. Do you think so? Do you believe that? Yes. Many people believe, and I think very easy to believe that. And not only politics, religion too. That's what many other people, we may not believe that, but recently we had somehow many atheists, not many, 2 or 3 atheists came to study divine principle here, and they didn't really felt we are a religion. They came and then they argued us, in order to have peace in this world, we need to abolish religion. And that's what they argued, and they even showed us that this is the studies showing that religions are fighting each other. Then why do you need religion? Then you are teaching religion, but how can you attain peace through that? And I believe it's very, very easy to think that way and even believe that way. And then we have a tendency to run away from religion, run away from politics, and then we say, okay, let me live in my peaceful world, in my peaceful family. And I believe that's not possible. It cannot attain. Peace cannot be attainable if we run away from something. And I come across with, while I was studying history, I came to know about some facts which happened when Nazism came. Nazism was getting popular in Germany. There was a phenomenon similar to this happened there. And I want to read that. It was a quote by a German Protestant theologian, Friedrich Martin Niemöller, and he said something very, very interesting. I felt it's go together with this. And he was referring to the time when Nazis came to Germany first, then they started their activities, and it says, first they came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. And the Vandals took over everything. Nazis had all controlled by that time. Nobody could do anything. But if the churches, Protestant churches, in the beginning Catholic Church also was in the target, if they were responding in the very beginning, it could not have happened that way. We could stop that. The world could stop Holocaust. The world could stop even Second World War. If they were responding the exact time when that response needed. Here, I feel, when we feel that nothing is possible, or I want to lead a peaceful life in my life, I want to run away from all the problems, and never believe you will have that peace forever. And vandals will come after you. At one point, you will be their victim. I will be their victim. And the whole world will not be able to, nobody in the world will be able to stop them. This is something we really have to think about. Sometimes we feel that even though we join this organization with high ideals, many things, but sometimes we can't see that. Sometimes we can see that in our world around. We feel that we could not change this world. Let me return. Let me take a peaceful time for enjoying my own life, at least for a while. But I feel we can never have peace by thinking that way. We have to keep fighting on. And here, I feel we really have to get involved with the world in order to change the world. In True Father's last prayer, True Father said, I have accomplished everything. I finished everything. I did everything. That kind of feeling we get from that prayer. Yesterday, in Reverend King's speech, he asked us, what do you think? What's the meaning of that? Then he explained, what does that mean? According to Reverend King, he mentioned, this is Father did everything he has to do as the Messiah. All the responsibilities Messiah has to do, Father finished. But that didn't finish everything. When we study divine principle, we go through that Messiah, God has responsibility, Messiah has responsibility, then we have our own personal responsibility. And still we all have to do that. And the entire human being, all human beings, each and every person who live on this earth, they have their own responsibility. They all have to do that. Then only the real restoration, the total restoration of the world can happen. If we think we finished everything, then what else take away? They will take away the church. They will take away the entire movement. They will take away the entire world. So we have to fight with the world. We cannot run away. And I feel this is a historic time where we have to stand up again. And easy to believe we did everything. We accomplished everything. And no matter what we want to change, we may have, each one of us came to our movement through different activities or with different ideals also. Perhaps some of you may want to change the politics and the corruption in politics you may want to change. I may want to have an ideal religion, and some other you may want to have an ideal charitable organization. No matter what you wanted to achieve, you have to act. You have to do that right now. Otherwise, that never can attain. Otherwise, that is never going to happen in this world. If we don't act, we will be letting God's foundation is being taken away by thieves. God's foundation, I feel this foundation we have is the blood and sweat of true parents. And the blood and sweat of all of you. And that's what we have. If we don't keep fighting, if we don't keep on, we will lose it. And that's why we have to act now. For that, we have to bring back the enthusiasm we had when we joined. When we joined, we were all excited, aren't we? Yes. We have to have that again. That's what True Mother asked us. She wanted us to have that, she wanted us to teach principle every day in the church. And she wanted us to witness every day. Witnessing is a battle which is going against the evil world. We have to do that. Then only we will be able to win over the world. And yesterday in Reverend King's speech, he mentioned that two things, particularly those two things really struck me, which we have to do in each and everyone's life. We have to make total unity with husband and wife. Learn principle, practice principle every day in our life and make total unity between husband and wife. Without holding your husband's hand, without holding your wife's hand, you can't enter into heaven. That's what, in a nutshell, he told yesterday. You have to go together in order to enter into heaven. And then he said, by witnessing, you are giving true life to people. By witnessing, we are giving life. He said, once we believe that, we will be able to witness thousands of people. We will be able to witness everyone in this world. So, I want to finish with this, again, that message from Hundred Training. The path which all past saints walk as they strove to fulfill God's providential will is the very path we must walk again today. Beyond that, we must continue on to the end of the path, even walking trails they left untrodden. Many times, it's so easy to feel that we are lost and we can't get anywhere. That happened all throughout the centuries, all throughout the thousands of years. Whoever stood up for God, whoever stood up to establish God's kingdom, they had these feelings. They were betrayed, they were deceived, and they didn't have enough people. But no matter what happened, they continued their way. They never looked back. And that's what we have to do today, and even beyond that. That's the only way we can become the historical victors. Yep. We can become the victory. We can really bring victory to God and true parents. And that's how we will become the providential victors. We will become the providential eye. Each and every one of us will be able to accomplish the calling from God